3 starts. Look at those numbers. Now, in the last 3 starts, opponents are batting 1 for 14 against him in crucial situations with runners in scoring position. He has featured an outstanding splitter to go along with his fastball, and he's been dominating in those last 3 games.
And you know what? The pitcher for the Montreal EXPOS tonight, Javier Vazquez, might have as good a collection of stuff as really any pitcher in the National League, because he can hit you with his fastball and then come back with real good off-speed stuff.
He's 27 years old, and since coming to the big leagues, the Expos have been expecting big things from this right-hander. He pitched against the Mets in Puerto Rico, and he had great stuff. In his last 3 seasons, in the win column, he features double digits. He can be an outstanding Major League pitcher, and this could be a breakout year for him.
Well, as we showed you just a moment ago, the Expos are right in the wild card chase in the National League. They tried to get better. Their general manager, Omar Minaya, badly wanted to bring Juan Gonzalez over from the Texas Rangers. Gonzalez said no thank you. And when we get back, you'll hear from Omar Minaya.
Welcome to the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Perfect. When the whole world is threatened, Sean Connery must unite the powers of 5 legends.
Cheers.
Into one extraordinary force.
Let's put it to the test.
Whoa.
Dr. Jekyll, at your service.
Discover an adventure in a league of its own.
That was naughty.
Sean Connery.
The league is set. The game is on.
On July 11th, the legends come to life. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Rated PG-13. July 11th.
Crazy night here at Shea Stadium. The Mets and Expos getting ready to open up this 3-game set. Montreal looking for a postseason berth. They're in the thick of it for a wild card spot in the National League. And this is a team with a low payroll, but a team that wants to make some moves to improve themselves. Recently, they had a chance to get Juan Gonzalez. This is a team that can't add payroll, but can add players. They had a deal worked out with the Rangers, but Gonzalez said no. However, it was not before Omar Minaya tried to talk him out of it.
Originally, he said no. Basically said, don't even come to Texas. We had a great meeting together. I go way back with Juan as a player, as a person. And I just wanted to explain to him the positives of coming to Montreal. And we have a lot of positives. We have a team here that's playing over 500. We have a very great manager in Frank Robinson. We have playing a wonderful city that is Montreal. And I think that all the players that we have a whole bunch of blue-collar players a lot of people don't know about. But we can compete with anybody. And, you know, yes, we have turf, and those things were a concern to Juan, and I understand. And but, you know, he did. We came close to hopefully him turning around and say, hey, I want to go there. But in the end, he just felt that it wasn't the right time for him to go here. It's a free agency year, and he was a little bit afraid of the turf, and I can understand that.
Minaya can understand it, but nonetheless is disappointed that he wasn't able to add Gonzalez to the Expos lineup. We'll come back with the first pitch of tonight's game as Steve Trachsel and Javier Vazquez match up.
Howie Rose, Fran Healy, Matt Loughlin with you from Shea Stadium in New York. Tonight's Mets game is available in SAP. Your announcers, Billy Baroa on the right and Juan Alicea on the left as they get set to bring you the Mets and the Montreal Expos in the opener of a 3-game series. This is the Montreal batting order that Steve Trachsel will face. Catcher Vance Wilson knows who's most difficult. It's their cleanup man, Jose Vidro. That's the guy.
Obviously, he's an all-star caliber player, so you got to watch the way you pitch him. And he's kind of all aspects. You know, he can get the base hit when he needs it. He's got a little bit of speed, and he always has pop from both sides. And being that he's a switch hitter, kind of takes that aspect out of it. So, you know, guy's a great play. You just got to pitch him well. And, you know, in this lineup, he's probably the guy you don't want to hurt you.
So Steve Trachsel knows he'll have his hands full with Jose Vidro as he goes to work against Endy Chavez, who will lead off.
And you see Steve Trachsel's numbers with that 6-5 record we told you just a few moments ago in his last 3 starts. He has pitched extremely well into the 7th inning. He features that fastball, the over-top curveball, the splitter, which has been very effective lately. So Trachsel will feature it again tonight and start off with Endy Chavez.
And the first pitch is a fastball right down the middle to Chavez. Boy, Fran, we talk so often about leadoff hitters who are in that leadoff spot because of their speed, but who aren't patient enough hitters. And that's exactly what they want more from with Endy Chavez. Right here, he's behind in the count already, 0-2.
Well, you see more and more players swinging from the time they come out of the dugout today, more so than ever before. And they say the Latin American players especially, because you don't walk off those islands, you swing the bat to get off the island.
Well, he swings there at an 0-2 pitch that looked to be out of the strike zone. He's only walked 14 times this year. He plays about every day, and he's got an on-base percentage of just .290.
There's that pitch Howie was talking about, out of the strike zone, and Chavez fouls it off. There was a great hitter, a disciplined hitter, and an underrated Hall of Famer. Ralph Kiner one day said he might have been the best hitter of all of them.
Frank Robinson. And Chavez stays alive, still 0-2.
Frank this year, when his team didn't know the rule book, they were arguing a play in San Francisco, he walked out and told them, get back to your positions and learn the rules.
Is that classic? No ball. It's 2 strikes to Chavez.
I would say most teams really aren't that well versed in the baseball rule book.
Sticks his bat out. Reyes won't reach it, but Floyd does. But Floyd had him played perfectly. And let's see how the rest of the Mets defense is aligned.
And we're looking behind Steve Trachsel in tonight's ball game. You're going to see Phillips, Alomar, Reyes, and Wigginton in the infield. Floyd, Burnett, Cedeno in the outfield. Wilson behind the plate. Trachsel on the mound. So that's the defense behind Steve Trachsel.
So Edwards Guzman playing third base these days because of the injury to Fernando Tatis. Guzman, till recently, had an 11-game hitting streak. So they've liked what they've gotten from Guzman, who came over with Livan Hernandez from the San Francisco Giants.
And teams will lose patience with a guy like Tatis, even if the injuries are real.
Oh, so now.
No, what I'm saying is, you know what happens? You have a real injury and you're out long enough, then they start saying, well, we don't think it bothers them that much. This is okay. That's okay. Remember St. Louis? He got into Tony La Russa's doghouse. He was injured there. He ended up in Montreal, and he's injured again. Even if you break a few things, they start doubting you.
Well, 2-1 here to Guzman. They say that Tatis has some inflammation in his chest wall. He's missed a couple of weeks.
You know, you don't hear that injury very often in baseball. So what happened? You know, it's like that bad back. You have a bad back for a while, people sympathize. And when it's too long, they don't care.
2-2 to Guzman. Inflammation of a chest wall. Guess that's not a whole lot different than a bruised rib. You know, we have more sophisticated and technologically correct ways of defining injuries these days.
Well, the real serious injury so far to the Expos in their quest for a division title would be Vladimir Guerrero, who's not in the lineup once again tonight.
They're hoping against hope they can get him back by the All-Star break. And a full count now to Edwards Guzman.
But it is funny how when you're injured, even though you're a good player, after a while, even your teammates start to whisper. You don't want those whispers moving around the clubhouse.
They soon become rather audible. So Trachsel facing his first payoff pitch of the night. And it's lined to center. Burnett will have to play it on a hop. And the Expos get a 1-out base runner here in the first inning.
Well, Trachsel threw that fastball out over the plate, and Guzman hit that ball exactly where it was pitched. Watch this. Out over the plate. Didn't try to pull it. Went right with it. Nice swing.
So 1-out single for Guzman. And now it's the shortstop Orlando Cabrera having a good year. See the batting average over 300. In the top 10 in hits in the National League.
A couple of years ago, his Gold Glove winner, had a superb season, fell off after that year, but he's back, and his numbers speak for themselves offensively, defensively, having another solid season. Gold Glove winner, as I mentioned a couple of years ago.
So now Trachsel will slow things down as he concentrates on the base runner as well as the hitter. The infield at double play depth. And the first pitch, a strike to Cabrera, 0-1.
Cabrera, a kid from Colombia, an impoverished country, and of course now with the salaries the players are making, they're well publicized. As you look him swing over that good swing and a good breaking ball, with the publicizing of the salaries, you know, the people in Colombia are looking to Cabrera, and some stuff I read about him when he goes out now, he puts some money in an envelope and gives it to his countrymen when he's there.
0-1 from Trachsel, a fastball outside.
He did say, though, that one relative said that his dad had passed away 3 times. So I guess that story wasn't true, but he did, you know.
Everybody's got their hand out.
But you know what? That's a stretch.
So 1-1 to Orlando Cabrera. See Guzman being held by Phillips and forced to dive back in. Expos will run. They have the second most stolen bases in the National League.
But their percentage is down as far as getting thrown out.
They get thrown out quite a bit.
Should say the percentage is up in that category.
Guzman, who has not yet attempted a stolen base, drawing some attention. Andy Chavez leads Frank Robinson's Expos with 14 stolen bases. And now Trachsel ready again. And he hits the outside corner. So a good pitch by Trachsel. Got that curveball over in the count 1-2.
Yeah, when Trachsel has his repertoire working for him, boy, he's got some great stuff. Throws the over-the-top curveball, the splitter that, when effective, it goes right out of that strike zone, and he throws a good heater with good location.
And again, Guzman back. If they charted number of throws to first base, as you look at Jose Vidro in the on-deck circle, Steve Trachsel would no doubt be among the league leaders. He will pay an awful lot of attention to every base runner, more so than most. 1-2 pitch on the way, and it just missed. They want to check the swing at first, but nothing doing, according to Bruce Dreckman. Of course, every pitcher is going to have to bear down and concentrate when he has a runner on first, but we're just talking about in terms of throws over designed to keep the runner close. I think Trachsel probably would beat just about anyone. Phillips holding him on. Trachsel has the sign from Wilson. 2-2 pitch, and Cabrera's gone. So Trachsel picks up his first strikeout as he throws the heater past Orlando Cabrera. 2 men away.
He threw Cabrera some nasty stuff. Right here, he gets him with the fastball. And if you remember, a couple pitches back, he threw that Uncle Charlie right over the top, a nasty curveball. So that's an overmatch by Trachsel first time around for Cabrera, who's having a solid season. How about this guy's numbers?
Vidro 6th in the league in hitting with a .328 batting average. 7th in the league in on-base percentage at .418. And it's a real tribute to Vidro, who's played through all kinds of nagging injuries. First pitch from Trachsel up the middle. Alomar's there. Side retired. So Trachsel needs just one pitch to retire a tough hitter, Jose Vidro. Expos go in order, or at least leave one, and here come the Mets. 26-year-old Javier Vazquez will face this Mets batting order put together by Art Howe. Roger Cedeno in right field, and Alomar, Burnitz, Floyd cleaning up with Wigginton at third, Phillips, Wilson, Reyes, and Trachsel on the mound. Significant that Reyes is still here with Ray Sanchez having been activated. Sorta went down. And significant, too, that Roger Cedeno is in the lineup against Vasquez. We'll tell you why.
Well, Javier Vazquez's numbers right there, that 6-5 record. He has the stuff of a 15 and 20 game winner his last 3 years, double digits in wins for the Expos. And he's got some good stuff. I mentioned it in the top of the show. Fastball, curveball. He throws that 2-seamer to 4-seamer. Mix in a changeup. By the way, this start right here, 200th consecutive start.
Yeah, by a right-handed pitcher for the Expos. And Cedeno rips one to right. This is what we were getting at with Roger Cedeno. The fact that he's been hot. The thought was that Timo Perez would play against righties when Tsuyoshi Shinjo went down, but not with Cedeno hitting.
Let's take a look at the Expo defense brought to you by Lincoln Mercury. Cordero, Vidro, Cabrera, Guzman in the infield. Wilkerson, Chavez, Callaway left to right in the outfield. Barrett behind the plate. But Vidro is an interesting story. He's had much better years in the big leagues than he did in the minor leagues. He had some solid years in the minor leagues, but since coming to the big leagues, he has become an outstanding second baseman defensively and offensively.
1-0 to Robbie Alomar, batting from his strong side, the left side. He hits .303 left-handed. And the Mets with a speedy runner aboard, Roger Cedeno. The catcher, Michael Barrett, has been real good at throwing base runners out, and he'd better be because he's only hitting about $150. A strike to Alomar, 1-1.
What's wrong with that?
What's the matter? Did I hit a sore spot? Did I touch a nerve? Did I bring back a memory?
You know, Barrett's an interesting story because they wanted him to play third base or shortstop. He's quite an athlete. And at the last minute, after some frustrating time in the minor leagues, he went back behind the plate.
And a strike to Alomar. Good pitch by Vasquez. Drops the curveball in for a strike with Jeremy Burnett's waiting on deck. Last of the first at Shea with no score. Cedeno led off with a single. Will Cordero holding him on. Pretty small lead for Roger. And a fastball inside to Alomar. In fact, Cedeno's weight was shifted back towards the bag when Vasquez delivered the ball. So the count even now on Roberto Alomar.
We'll see if the Mets put Cedeno in motion, trying to manufacture a run to start this 3-game series against the Expos. You mentioned how Barrett's throwing the ball well. It should be somewhat of a deterrent, but should not take away your aggressiveness if you are a base stealer. You can't let a catcher intimidate you, although I like the thought.
The high set for Vasquez. Alomar does not go. Line to short. That's 1 out, and that's 2. Cabrera to Cordero for the double play. So Cedeno, who had taken just a step towards the second base side and then stopped, had to regroup all at once and couldn't get back.
Well, you see, your first reaction when there's a line drive is you think immediately base hit. Line drive usually means base hit. So your first step is more off the base. Now you're caught. Fly ball, you tend to not jump off the bases quickly. Line drive, usually it's an immediate reaction to move towards the next base.
No balls, 1 strike on Jeremy Burnett's. So Cedeno, thinking that ball was going to find its way into the outfield, instead doubled up, and now Burnett's takes down and away. 1 ball and 1 strike. Boy, it's been kind of an all or nothing for Jeremy Burnett's when Vasquez is on the mound. He's hit more homers against him than any other pitcher, but Vasquez hasn't struck anybody out any more often than he's gotten Jeremy Burnett's. And the count now 2-1 to Jeremy. Burnett's has had the home run stroke lately with 7 home runs over his last 18 games. Way out in front, and the count 2-2.
Well, back to Sunday in the Bronx. Jeremy Burnett hits a bullet over that right field fence. So Jeremy Burnett's now with 14 home runs and 35 RBIs.
Just missed the inside corner with that fastball. It's a full count.
No score here at Shea Stadium. We're in the bottom of the first inning. 1 hit for the Expos, 1 for the Mets.
And now the payoff pitch on the way, and it's inside, ball 4. So the Mets get another base runner, the first erased on the double play, and it'll bring up Cliff Floyd. Floyd just 3 out of 16 over the weekend against the Yankees.
So Cliff Floyd with that 14 home run count, 42 RBIs. He's got 19 doubles, and there's a fan.
So now Floyd. Burnett's with a short lead. And the pitch way inside for a ball, 1-0.
Good shot right there. Michael Barrett ready to throw. Watch the catcher. You're supposed to be ready to throw at all times. He's ready. He's got his feet in position to throw. But the runner on first base, you don't want to steal the pitch from the umpire. You don't want to upset your pitchers. You'll upset the pitchers if you come up too soon. But you as a catcher want to be ready to get in a position to throw that ball to second base, and Barrett was. You see the tape on his fingers. Probably pitchers have trouble seeing his fingers when he gives the signs.
Again, he misses inside with a fastball on the count 2-0. Cliff is just happy not to be DHing for the time being, and he won't have to worry about that the rest of the year now that interleague play is over. Mets went just 5-10 against the American League, and in years past they had been one of the better teams in baseball in interleague games.
Boy, interleague baseball had a big push. Attendance way up after interleague play.
Interleague play is over for the Mets. There's still one more game that lingers. Red Sox and Phillies have to make up a rainout.
How about it's up 20%?
Fastball for a strike. That, see, to me, that's, they get their big numbers when the traditional rivals play.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Well, there's nothing wrong with it, but, you know, to say that it's created a boom when the Astros are playing the Tigers or something like that is wrong.
Well, it's up 20%. I rest my case, as Clarence Darrow once said, I'm sure.
And a curveball misses high, so Floyd draws the second consecutive walk issued by Javier Vazquez, who doesn't walk many. Only 27 walks in 107 1/3 innings coming in.
You hear more and more people talking about this guy. Met fans talking about Ty Wigginton. Batting .274, playing solid defense.
Wigginton continues to be among the leaders in a lot of rookie offensive categories.
Sure.
Hits, runs scored. He has 36 runs batted in. Burnett's at second, Floyd at first, and a little dribbler foul off the bat of Wigginton, 0-1.
So take a look at the umpires in tonight's ball game. Brian Gorman behind the plate. Bruce Breckman at first base. Out at second base, Brian Runge, and Ed Montague over at third base. So the men in blue in tonight's ball game.
Outfield a step the other way against Wigginton, who lays off a fastball. So Vasquez misses, and the count 1-1 Gave you some misinformation a couple of moments ago. Ray Sanchez has not yet been activated, and Jaime Cerda is still very much here with the Mets. You might remember John Franco went into the first base bag a little funny at Yankee Stadium last night. 1-1 pitch on the way to Wigginton, and that's taken low and outside, 2-1. And so the Mets certainly want to make sure that John is okay. With Jaime Cerda, a left-hander, still here, it provides little insurance in the bullpen. Sanchez can take a day or two before coming off the DL. This is what happened last night with John Franco, and probably had something to do with the decision being delayed today.
You can see John Franco right here getting over to first base and then favoring the right ankle. Don Baylor, who had taken over for Art Howe, goes out to check with John Franco's, and you can see him favoring that right leg when it looked like he misstepped trying to cover first base.
So Jaime Cerda, who had reported yesterday because the Mets needed a long man after having to go to their bullpen early over the weekend, is still here. And the count to Wigginton, 2-1 after a visit by pitching coach Randy St. Clair to Javier Vazquez. Vasquez ready, and he misses inside with that sinker. So Vasquez suddenly losing control. He's a pitch away from loading him up for Jason Phillips. Frank Robinson's another guy who never looks real pleased during a game, regardless of the score or the situation.
No. All Frank would ask from his players is to give him 100%. Well, he wouldn't ask it. He would demand it. And also be productive.
3-1 outside. So Vasquez misses again with his fastball. And with 3 straight walks, the Mets have loaded the bases. And Jason Phillips, who's been a very hot hitter, is coming up.
Well, Vasquez has had trouble with control. He's a strikeout pitcher, but he can also walk hitters, as he's proven here tonight.
Phillips, even though he went hitless in last night's game at Yankee Stadium, still 21 for his last 45, covering the last dozen games. And the first pitch taken high and inside. 1-0 to Phillips. A .316 average, the exact number that he's hitting with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, big.
And they're loaded here.
Big at bat right now for Jason Phillips. Vasquez, who has good stuff right now, can't find the plate.
Missed outside, 2-0.
Now you're tempted to have the hitter take right here, but Phillips is hitting .316. He's been hot lately. He should get a ball to hit, and Frank Robinson is quickly losing his patience.
He's got Timothy Drew throwing in the first inning. Well, Phillips has to be looking dead red here.
In a 0-0 ball game, he's got a guy up unless there's some type of an injury.
Well, there's the fastball, and it's on the outside corner.
Think about it. 200 straight starts for Vasquez. Frank Robinson said, I don't care. Get somebody up.
Two and one to Phillips. And the count even. It's already taken 28 pitches for Vasquez just to get to this point.
And the pretty good pitch right there. That's a pitcher's pitch. And Phillips swings right through it.
You know, I guess it's conceivable, too, that when pitching coach Randy St. Clair went to the mound, he might have detected some discomfort based on what Vasquez said to force Frank Robinson to get the bullpen up. 2-2 pitch, lined. Vidro, side retired. So Vasquez gives up a base hit, walks 3, and escapes unscathed. We head to the second inning. Steve Trachsel allowed a single in the first and now faces Brad Wilkerson, Will Cordero, and Ron Callaway here in the second inning. Wilkerson, a week ago tomorrow, had the day of his career. 0-1. He hit for the cycle. Looks like Barrett and Cabrera were going at it in the dugout about something. That was right after the Expos came in after the bottom of the first. 1 ball, 1 strike to Wilkerson. I have no idea at face value anyway what that could have been about. Trachsel misses high and outside with a fastball. 2-1.
Well, Wilkerson was an outstanding high school baseball player. He was Mr. Baseball, I believe it was in the state of Kentucky in high school. Also, he was almost Mr. Soccer. Outstanding athlete.
Upstairs, 3-1. And now Trachsel missing and falling behind. Fouled straight back, and Trachsel runs a full count.
Wilkerson was just edged out in the Rookie of the Year balloting in 2002 by Jason Jennings of the Colorado Rockies.
Outfield had been shifted around, expecting Wilkerson to pull. Now, as the count goes to 3 balls, 2 strikes, they're pretty much straight away. And Trachsel missed outside with a fastball, a leadoff walk for Wilkerson. So for the second straight inning, Trachsel will have to work from the stretch position as he faces Will Cordero, the first baseman. Cordero's bat's been heating up lately, 5 out of his last 9. Played pretty well defensively at first base for the Expos. Came up as a shortstop. You see some of the remnants of the crowd on the 7 train making their way into the ballpark. Maybe they came off the Long Island Railroad. On the inside corner to Cordero, 0-1. Wilkerson led off with a walk. Phillips holding him on. Cordero got off to a very slow start with the Expos this year. Had a great May. And although he's tailed off this month, we mentioned he's had a hot bat the last couple of days. Expos just finished interleague play by beating the Toronto Blue Jays 10-2 yesterday. Tomooka flirted with a no-hitter, going 6 2/3. Now the 0-1 pitch, fastball high. So 1-1 on Cordero. Where, oh where will the Montreal Expos play next year? Incredibly, there is still a chance that they will play a significant number of games in Montreal. It's really challenged Frank Robinson to be able to keep his team's mind away from not only the uncertainties, but, you know, the lethargy you go through when you've got those long road trips, including the stops in Puerto Rico. 1-1 to Cordero, fouled straight back.
I'm not so sure Frank would allow that to happen to a ball club. Although Frank Robinson, when he was with the Cincinnati Reds at one time, was upset with baseball, and he told his teammates in the city of Cincinnati he was going to retire. And back then, of course, you weren't making, as you look at Omar Minaya, you weren't making the big money that the kids are making today. So what the players did toward the end of the season, they gave him a going away present, and it was a lunch pail. He changed his mind, stayed with the Reds.
Message received. 1-2 pitch taken low. Of course, right now Major League Baseball is running the Montreal Expos, and they don't want to own a team. They'd like to be able to move it, but when you go to places like Northern Virginia, Washington, and Portland, they say, well, guarantee us the team and we'll build a stadium. Major League Baseball wants it the other way. They say, build the park, we'll give you a club. And so there's something of a catch-22 at work here. For instance, in Washington, the mayor of the District of Columbia is up for election next year, and he doesn't want to have to put a ballpark referendum on the ballot in an election year. So uncertainty reigns right now.
The Expos are a good ball club. If somebody bought them, I mean, they're buying a club with some pretty good assets. The middle infielders, Vladimir Guerrero, Michael Barrett, a fine young catcher, Omar Minaya, who grew up in this area and worked for the Mets a few years back, the general manager. I think Omar would like to see that team play more games in Puerto Rico. I talked to him down there when we were in San Juan, and he is very enthusiastic about Major League Baseball on the island.
I know that's been talked about as well. Wilkerson running, and the pitch fouled away by Cordero, so it's still 2-2. But I guess you could understand the various municipalities involved. For example, if you think about the Tampa-St. Petersburg area, they built that baseball park, which is, to use the term rather loosely, but they built an indoor stadium 10 years before they wound up with a big league team. White Sox flirted with them. The Giants flirted with them. Those talks never reached fruition. And at least as a baseball edifice, that place sat unused for a decade. And people in Portland, Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C., they don't want to have to pay for a stadium and have it sit vacant without a team. The fact is, they don't want to have to pay for it at all. So again, Trachsel ready, and the 2-2 pitch fouled away, and Cordero's making it very tough on Trachsel here in the second inning.
Seems like yesterday when the Montreal Expos signed Cordero as a young player. He's about 17 years old. Superstardom was predicted for him. He's had some solid years in the major leagues, but no superstar years. He's played a number of different positions.
And the 2-2 pitch, breaking ball, and Cordero fouls off another one. It's taken 8 pitches from Trachsel to Will Cordero to get to this point, which is 2-2 and 4 foul balls. Brad Wilkerson led off this inning with a walk. He's still at first base. Wilkerson has 7 stolen bases. That's third most on the Expos. So the duel continues between Trachsel and Cordero. Wilkerson, pretty short lead. Now he's running. Pitch taken for a ball. Wilkerson stops. Phillips running at him. And it's Wilson, the catcher, back by the first base bag.
That's a good idea.
To make the tag.
You got Steve Trachsel out of there in case there's a collision. You got the catcher down there with his equipment on. There's not going to be a collision, but you don't want to get your pitcher hurt. Here's Vance Wilson getting that ball to second base, and then he hustled down to first base. Good hustle by Vance Wilson. Good throw, then good hustle. Alomar chasing him back, and then Wilson right there making the tag. Good solid throw. Get the ball down to that middle infielder. Let him do his work. Then you see Jason Phillips chasing the runner.
Cordero hits a shot to center. Burnett's back. Won't get it. It one-hops the wall and stays in play. Cordero pulls into second with a one-out double. So he jumped on a 3-2 fastball from Trachsel. And the Expos have a runner in scoring position with one out.
Well, Cordero gets a ball letter high out over the plate, and he clobbers this ball to center field. And it smokes that center field fence on one hop.
So now Cordero at second for right fielder Ron Callaway. Callaway's the guy who has seen most of the time in right field with the injury to Vladimir Guerrero, who's out with a herniated disc. Callaway has 7 home runs, tied for first among rookies. Good play by Wilson. He keeps it in front of him, but a good read by Cordero, who broke right away.
As soon as that ball gets down in that dirt, if you have those good base running instincts and you can break, very difficult for a catcher to throw you out. Ball bounces. Now Wilson kept the ball in front of him. At one time, that was the deterrent. Not anymore. They have figured it out. It's not that easy once that ball bounces off a catcher to go out, pick it up, get your rhythm, and make a strong throw.
So now the Mets are going to move the infield in here in the second inning. And the 1-0 to Callaway hit deep to right center, deep enough to score a run. Burnett puts it away, and Cordero comes down the line to score. So it's 1-0 Montreal. And Fran, if you had to estimate roughly what percentage of the base runners in the National League would have had the instincts to take off immediately after that ball hit the dirt, how many do you think?
I think that a lot of guys do it today, and it's something that they learn now. They're taught, look, if ball hits the dirt, go. The first guy I ever saw do it, and he did it to perfection, was Willie Mays. And I think more and more teams started to teach kids, you know, this is what you're going to do. Ball hits the dirt, go. It's funny, I remember Jerry Kuzman telling me that he learned how to do it from Willie Mays, and I was biting into this. You know, he was telling me he did it like 10 times in one season, and I thought about it, and I don't think so.
Michael Barrett goes the other way. Cedeno has it, and the side retired. A run on a hit, and the Expos jump in front, middle of the second at Shea. It is 1-0 Montreal. Last of the second, they expect great weather all week here in New York as Vance Wilson takes a strike on the outside corner from Javier Vazquez. Wilson, Jose Reyes, and Steve Trachsel, lower third of the Mets batting order.
Wilson putting together a solid season offensively, and he's been impressive defensively and throwing that ball in that last inning, getting down to first base, hustling down there, taking charge.
No balls and 2 strikes to the Mets catcher. Goes the other way. Callaway's going to have to hustle, and he makes a nice play.
Or he can run.
It's a good catch by Ron Callaway in right field.
And he employs the slide. Makes the catch, and there he slides. You see Vance Wilson feeling for that ball, and Callaway coming over with great speed and making the play. Boy, the Montreal Expos for years have been able to come up with outfielders with great arms and great speed. Of course, their best, I guess, would be Andre Dawson.
They had a homegrown outfield that played for a number of years together. It was very successful as Jose Reyes looks at a fastball that's 0-2.
You see Vasquez's numbers against right-handed starters. It's 200 straight games. Wow.
Bruce Chen, the last one to start, and that's over a year ago. Matt Blank, the last one to win, and that's now over 2 years ago.
How about that? A Montreal right-hander has started 200 straight games. It's incredible.
Fastball misses to Reyes. Bruce Chen, he might give Mike Morgan a race for his money before it's all over. Chen's what, 25 years old? He's been with 7 organizations, I believe.
I was very surprised at that, the number 200 prior to the game when I was reading the notes. 200 straight games for a right-hander. You know, one time they said you couldn't win anything unless you had right-handers and left-handers. If you have 5 guys that can throw like Tom Seaver, it's a good chance you're going to win. Right-handed
or left. 2-2 to Reyes. Goes the other way. And it gets by Wilkerson. Let's watch Reyes run.
Look at him go.
He's going for 3. And he's in there.
Oh, that's exciting. Watching Reyes go. Well, when you're an outfielder, you know Reyes is hitting the ball, or anybody with speed like this, try to keep the ball in front of you. Wilkerson misjudged that ball. The ball got by him. He hustled after it, and watch number 7 run. He can fly, and does it in such an easy fashion. Even his slide is smooth.
So you would imagine that would be a single and a 2-base error. We'll see how they score it. Either way, Jose Reyes is at 3rd. And the Expos will bring their infield in.
Well, I'd give him a triple. You wouldn't give him a triple?
Fastball away. Well, no, I mean, Wilkerson should have kept. I wouldn't, personally. Of course, you've often said I'm far too tough. It appears for now they've given him a triple. But
I'd give him a triple because, first off, you know, there was no error involved. Now, was it?
Well, you didn't touch it, but you don't have to touch it to get an error.
Was it? You're going to give him an error on a misjudged ball?
1-0 pitch.
There'd be a lot of errors
on a base hit.
Yeah.
I would, yeah, on a base hit.
I'd give him a triple.
You even said he misjudged it.
He misjudged it.
Played it.
Misjudged the ball. I didn't say he made an error in the ball. I said he misjudged the ball. Look, you can give him an error for misjudging. Okay, a ball's hit the right field and a guy takes off the left field and misjudged the ball, you're going to give him an error?
I would change the rule. Well, not even the rule. I would change the mindset.
Yeah,
clearly, yeah. Well, with the infield in, Trachsel with a full swing takes a 1-2 pitch. To me, that's a base hit to left field that the left fielder, in this case Wilkerson, has got to keep in front of him, knocked down to keep the runner at first base. Once it gets past him, I think it's past him because of his misplay. Therefore, I would give him a double. I would give him a 2-base error.
I give him a triple.
You're just too nice. You're just a nice person. I'm evil.
Thank you very much.
Outside the Trachsel, 2-2.
I'll tell you, if you hit that ball, you certainly would want a triple in that ball.
Well, that's going to happen.
Should it be? Should the ball? If he knocks it down with his body, the only way he's going to knock that ball down with his body. His first reaction is, I'm going to make a catch. I can catch his ball. Now he misjudged it. What about a ball that's hitting the sun and you lose it? You going to give him an error?
If he didn't have his sunglasses on, I would. 3-2. See, that's the problem with kids today. Too lenient.
I understand. Don't give anybody a hit.
Well, pitchers would love me. So Reyes at 3rd. 3-2 to Trachsel with 1 out. And Steve stays alive. Well, another example.
Well, let me give you an example. Fly ball to center field, or line drive to center field. Center fielder comes in, ball shoots over his head. Take a look at this again. He should have stayed back on the ball. He knows that. But the ball, okay, what can you say that
An
ball?
18-year-old kid keeps that ball in front of him if he plays it right.
No. Well, what type of a hop did that ball take?
One that went past him.
Right. Did it go off to his right?
Fouled away.
Did it go off to his right? How about a line drive hit to the center fielder? He comes in, ball goes over his head, all the way to the wall.
Yeah, they give him a triple or a double or whatever it is.
Misplayed ball.
Yeah.
Misjudged.
That doesn't mean.
Why should that be different?
Doesn't mean I like the system.
Oh, so you'd give him an error on the ball all the way to the 410 mark.
If he breaks 5-10 feet in on it.
I respected your opinion up until just a moment ago.
Reyes at 3rd. On the outside corner, and Trachsel's gone. Big strikeout for Vasquez, 2 men away.
Well, that last pitch to Trachsel, if it is a strike, it is a strike that Trachsel said, I want it when I'm pitching. All it has to do is just nip the part of the plate.
So 2 out. Ray is still at third after his triple.
I like that.
And Roger Cedeno coming up. Just off the inside corner, 1-0. Roger with a single his first time up. Now 8 for his last 18. That's on the outside corner, 1-1. Howie Carpin is the official scorer here at Shea Stadium tonight.
Howie made the right call.
Howie playing it by the book.
Not Howie Rose either.
Showing no imagination whatsoever. 1-2 to Cedeno. Matt Laughlin's with Howie. Matt?
All right, Howie can't speak publicly on the air, but I did ask him how. He said, listen, left-handed hitter up. The ball was slicing away from Wilkerson, and that's why he gave him a triple and no error. He said if the ball wasn't slicing away, if it wasn't coming off the bat of a left-handed hitter, then he could understand your argument. But no, he's going triple, not single and a two-base error.
Well, now it's Wilkerson moving over to play this one. He does so flawlessly.
Stay with us. We come back. We'll show you that bad hop.
Meantime, the Mets leave a runner at third. And we go to the third, 1-0 Montreal.
What's new in New York? Golf on MSG. Tee to Green, presented by Canon. Pros, tips, celebrities, and more. Tonight at 11 on MSG Network.
There's a place in Cooperstown, New York, where memories come to life.
Would you believe that? Well, this guy's in another world.
Where moments become memories, the Baseball Hall of Fame at Cooperstown.
We head to the third inning here at Shea, 1-0 Expos. Javier Vazquez, the Montreal pitcher, followed by Andy Chavez and Edwards Guzman against Steve Trachsel. And Trachsel hits the outside corner. Mentioned the official score in tonight's game is Howie Carpin. And there is Howie.
Howie, nice call. That was the right call. Bad hop.
See, and they kill me for being a traditionalist. That's traditional scoring. I might have been a little tougher.
Really?
Well, I wouldn't have taken a hit away from the kid. What's the difference? 1-1 to Vasquez. Line the other way. Cedeno's right there.
If we take a look at that triple again, when the ball hit the ground, the ball shot to the right of Wilkerson, the left field. Therefore, it was a tough play. He did misjudge it.
Thank you.
But
Andy Chavez coming up.
You don't give errors on misjudged balls. Now watch this. The ball goes out. It's Wilkerson would have said, you know what? Maybe I made the wrong decision, charged this ball, but the ball took a tricky hop, got by him. What kind of hands do you think people have out there?
Well, he's left-handed, right? Yeah. Gloves on his right hand. He was in position to knock it down, I thought. And what's the difference anyway?
It's a triple.
No balls, 1 strike on Chavez. Chavez flied to left his first time up.
You would be tough. You'd be a tough official scorer. You wouldn't be able to go in the clubhouse, but you'd be a tough official scorer.
Wouldn't have to if I was an official scorer.
Well, no, they do. You know, Red Foley's good. That's one thing with Red. You never said to Red, hey, you called that wrong. Or Bill Shannon. That wouldn't be a good scene in the clubhouse.
You had those guys for dinner.
No, not me. You call Mr. Foley and Mr. Shannon. And then you beg.
Chavez way out in front. It's 1-2. I mean, this takes a bigger topic into consideration, and that is, are the traditional scoring rules a little bit too lenient?
No. Good changeup, though.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Chavez. Now he goes the other way, and that one will reach the seats out of play. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Sterling METS and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Sterling METS. Nice play by Alomar. And he just gets the speedy Chavez 2 men away. So Trachsel's picked up 4 in a row. And it'll bring up Edwards Guzman.
And a nice play by Robbie Alomar. When a ball is hit relatively hard, infielders, their first step usually is back. It's not to the side, it's usually back. It gives them more of a chance to adjust to that ball as they are chasing it if your first step is back toward the outfield.
Edwards Guzman takes a breaking ball downstairs, 1-0.
You know, people say that Steve Trachsel takes some time with runners on base. When he is throwing from the windup, he is very aggressive.
Line the other way, tailing away from Floyd and into the corner.
Yeah,
and an easy double for Guzman.
Howie wants to give him a single and an error.
Yeah, right.
Guzman hits his ball hard. We saw him his first time up go with the ball up the middle, and right there he spanks the ball to the left field with some velocity. That ball rolls all the way to the wall. Floyd picks it up, he gets it in, and he's just hoping he's not doesn't pick up an error on that ball from Howie Rose.
No problem. Orlando Cabrera struck out his first time up. So the Expos with a run in scoring position. Trachsel got in on Cabrera's hands, and he couldn't do much more than that with it.
First time up with Cabrera, who's having a solid season again. He threw him an over-the-top curveball and then got him out with the fastball away. Right there, first pitch inside. Cabrera's hitting .322 at 30 RBIs since May 1st. Think he's on fire?
Trachsel has worked with men on base now in all 3 innings. Guzman at second, and a breaking ball missed outside.
Goes away. First pitch was inside. Now he got that hook over to him first time up.
And the fastball fouled back.
Away. So now it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Let's say Vidro in the on-deck circle. Cabrera has been a hot hitter. He had a 10-game hitting streak stopped yesterday. Trying to start another one here, and Trachsel trying to get out of this inning with no damage. Checks Guzman at second. And the breaking ball right to Reyes. Side retired. No runs, 1 hit. Middle of the 3rd inning, Frank Robinson's Expos with a 1-0 lead over Art Howe's Mets.
Second baseman, number 12.
1-0 Expos. Mets will have Alomar, Burnitz, and Floyd here in the 3rd. And whatever the scoring decision, whether you agree with it or not, the beauty of what turned out to be the Jose Reyes 3-base hit was watching that kid run, because that's one of the elements as Alomar takes a strike that, you know, has been missing in large part from this team over the last few years is speed, and Reyes provides a whole lot of it.
Well, I think it's going to be very interesting to watch him develop on a major league level, along with guys like Ty Wigginton. They talk about a second baseman in AAA, Dan Garcia, who's having a solid season. We're seeing Vance Wilson starting to develop, getting a chance to play every day.
Alomar goes the other way.
Take a look at that Jose Reyes triple. Howie thinks it should have been a single, but I'm giving him a triple all the way. Now the ball is out over the plate, and Reyes hits a good pitch. Remember, he was trying to pull that ball a few weeks ago. When he sees that ball go by Wilkerson, he turns it on, and he hustles into third base. Everything he does is so effortless. Jose Reyes with the triple, despite what Howie Rose called a single.
Not like anybody took a hit away from him. So now Alomar on first leading off. Burnitz, after the first pitch, throws his bat in disgust as he pops to the left side, and Guzman puts it away. So Jeremy, who's hit 5 home runs against Javier Vazquez, had a big swing but left the box in frustration. One out, one on. Cliff Floyd was the second of 3 straight walks issued by Vasquez in the first inning. So Alomar will measure his lead at first base with Cordero holding him on. And Floyd fouls it off. Of course, there's a nice hole on the right side of the infield with the second baseman Vidro actually pulled over a step or 2 towards the second base bag. So Floyd with some room on the right side as Cordero holds against Robbie Alomar. And Alomar back easily. Robbie has stolen 6 bases without being caught. Mets as a team do not steal bases. They are tied with the Colorado Rockies for the fewest in the National League.
But when the Mets picked up Robbie Alomar, you know, you were thinking 40 stolen bases per year.
Thinking 100 RBIs are close to it also.
You know, he's been one of the biggest surprises past couple seasons. I mean, I'm talking about guys who have watched him play. As you look at that last pitch to Floyd, baseball people who have watched Robbie Alomar play are astounded at what has happened to him here in New York.
Vasquez delivers and Floyd fouls it off, so it's 1-2. Cliff continuing to play through the pain of the Achilles and the knee problems. And then as we get down towards the end of the season, it'll be interesting to see whether or not, if it's deemed that the Achilles might need some surgical attention, it'll be interesting to see whether or not Floyd might shut it down a little early and make sure that he's all right for spring training if it comes down to where he needs some sort of procedure. 1-2 pitch on the way, and he goes the other way. Wilkerson going back, and he can't get it. Alomar on his way to third. He'll be held there by McElroy. Floyd into second, and the Mets have second and third with 1 out.
Well, Cliff Floyd hit that ball that was off the plate outside. Boy, he hit the heck out of that ball off the left center field wall. Ball shot past Wilkerson. Chavez had to get it back in. The ball's in front of Alomar, so I was kind of surprised Robbie didn't score on that ball. But he's on third base, so you get Cliff Floyd on second, Robbie Alomar on third. And Cliff Floyd hit a ball that was way off the plate outside.
So now it's Ty Wigginton with 2 in scoring position. He had a big cut.
We're talking about watching the development of players. We mentioned Ty Wigginton. Right here's a situation which just helps his development if he can be productive and drive in a couple runs. Here's Robbie Alomar, the ball in front of him. Not going real hard around second base. But I guess maybe he thought Wilkerson had a shot at catching that ball. But anyway, he's on third. Floyd's on second, and a good spot for Ty Wigginton to help himself in his major league development.
Mets 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position in first game. When you saw Wilkerson put his arm up, that might have decoyed Robbie into thinking that Wilkerson was about to catch the ball. But it didn't look like he had a real hard gait going from first to third. So Alomar 90 feet away. Floyd at second with 1 man out. Wigginton 36 RBIs. He's got 2 in scoring position here. And he lays off the slider. It's 1-1. Mets have now out-hit the Expos 4-3. Neither one of these starting pitchers has been able to get through an inning 1-2-3. Vasquez ready, and the 1-1 pitch overpowers Wigginton.
Well, clearly Vasquez has, we talked about an overpowering fastball. Here's that pitch again. It's out of the strike zone. Vasquez also, by the way, can walk batters. He has struck out an average of 7.8 batters per 9 innings in his career, and he has a strikeout to walk ratio of 3-to-1. Only 2 other pitchers in Major League history have as high a rate in both categories as Vasquez. That's Pedro Martinez and Curt Schilling.
Wigginton just gets a piece. It's still 1-2.
He lost his control early in his ball game. Well, as we mentioned earlier, with this start, he becomes, for Montreal, 200 starts, consecutive starts by right-handers.
Vasquez gives up a lot of home run balls. He's ahead of the count here to Wigginton, 1-2. And he just missed downstairs. In fact, only Ben Sheets has allowed more home runs among National League pitchers than Vasquez. Javier has allowed 20. Sheets 23. But Vasquez is looking for really his bread and butter here, and that's the strikeout. He's third in the National League in that category. And the Mets have 2 in scoring position with 1 out. So Vasquez ready. And Wigginton hits it hard and deep. Chavez going back at the warning track, and he can't get it. The Mets will take the lead as it bounces over the fence for a ground rule double. Alomar and Floyd come in to score, and the Mets have a 2-1 lead. Ty Wigginton delivers.
So he talked about his development. 45 RBIs now with those 2 there. So Ty Wigginton getting his average up there, heading to 280. And right there, driving the ball over Chavez's head in center field. And as I mentioned a moment ago, a big at-bat in his development. Just adds to his confidence. And Ty Wigginton is certainly becoming a favorite here at Shea, Howie.
Ty jumping on a 93-mile-an-hour fastball there from Vasquez, who was looking for that big punch out. The one who did the punching was Wigginton, and now it's Phillips. Jason grounded to second his first time up. Mets now with 5 hits in the game. On the inside corner as Vasquez at the changeup over. It's 0-1. 17 two-base hits now for Wigginton, and Vasquez still in trouble. Curveball, and Phillips a little over anxious. So it's 0-2 to Jason Phillips.
Jason Phillips right here, just a little bit underneath that pitch. And out in front where he pulled it foul down the left field line.
Vance Wilson waiting on deck. The 0-2 to Phillips, and a breaking ball. Barrett keeps it in front of him, and the count 1-2. The curveball did not get up to 70 on the radar gun, topping out at 68.
So you could categorize that as an off-speed breaking ball.
Slow curve.
68 miles per hour. But when you're looking for that heater, you're not comfortable when somebody throws a pitch without any velocity. Oh boy.
So Phillips down on strikes. They do not have to. He said that evidently Barrett had held on to that, right?
Yeah, ball hit the dirt. Ball hit the dirt. That's why Phillips ran it out. Good move by Jason Phillips. Make them throw you out. So the home plate umpire, Brian Gorman, said he can run. That's why Barrett had to throw that ball to first base.
So 2 men out. It'll bring up Vance Wilson for Vasquez, his second strikeout. Nothing in 1 to Wilson, who made a bid for a base hit his first time up when he lifted one towards the right field line. But Ron Callaway, the right fielder, made a nice play, hustling over for it. Made a sliding catch, and there's Reyes on deck. Oh, and 2 now to Wilson. You know that Vasquez is not going to last more than 5 or 6 innings the way he's going. Here we are in the 3rd inning. He's already thrown 70 pitches. been blue skies for Jeremy Burnitz lately as far as his offense is concerned. Not for the team, though. Wilson the other way again. And once more, it's Callaway to make the catch. Mets get 2 on the Wigginton double. And at the end of 3, it is 2-1 Mets. Jose Reyes has already impressed the fans here at Shea. Hard work, right, Matt Loughlin?
Oh, absolutely, Howie, and he continues that hard work as he looks to improve his fielding. Today, in an empty stadium, before the Mets even began batting practice, he was out there working with Matt Galante, the Mets infield coach, also the third base coach, obviously. And it was all about footwork, according to Galante. He's saying that they love his glove. They just want him to be able to get in better position to field the balls, which in turn will give him a better throw over to first. He's got a cannon, but he'll have a quicker release. They say he's got such great hands that he over-relies on them, and that's to his detriment a little bit. So they feel some of the errors he's shown early on have been just a result of him not having the good enough footwork, or he's got it, just not using it. And Matt was saying that it sometimes when it's ingrained in a player, it's hard to break it, but he feels at 20 years of age is something that the Mets will be able to, in a short while, break Jose of the over-reliance on the glove and get the feet in the proper position to make the plays, and that'll make him even better in terms of fielding.
All right, Matty. Jose Vidro out on a ground to the third as we start the 4th inning with a play-by-play. Here's Fran Healy.
All right, Howie, so scored that one 5-3. As Vidro hit the ball weakly to third base. And Brad Wilkerson will be the batter. Wilkerson with that average up over 300. He's a good player. Howie mentioned earlier how he hit for the cycle this season. That curveball.
That's nothing. Johnny Damon almost did it in 1 inning. How about that? A single, double, and triple in that 14-run Boston Red Sox first inning against the Florida Marlins on Friday night.
3 hits in 1 inning, tying a major league record. It's now 1-1 on Wilkerson. First game of 3 here against the Expos. Nice night for a ball game. Supposed to be great weather all week long, so come on out to Shea Stadium. Watch Mets and the Expos. There's a ground ball, second base. Alomar on all-one motion. Easy play. Scored 4-3. 2 down. Now we're going to take a look at our Aflac trivia question.
All right, Gilbert the Duck tells us that Jason Phillips' streak of 5 straight multi-hit games ended last night, and only one Met has a longer streak. Who would that be?
Will Cordero will be the batter. Cordero takes a strike. He now has 500-plus RBIs in his career, and in this ball game, he's got a double and a stolen base. So Cordero takes outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. That was a splitter from Steve Trachsel. Mets have a 2-1 lead here in the 4th inning, and it's fouled off. That's a takeoff for Cincinnati over to Holiday. Take on those Cincinnati Reds and
get a look at that brand new ballpark, Great American Ballpark.
Then they'll be back here at Shea Stadium right after that. The Braves will be in town. Trachsel's pitch is down low to Cordero. 2 balls and 2 strikes. A few years back, Cordero set his career back when he got involved in some domestic trouble off the field. Team shied away from him. But he's back in Montreal, and he's facing Steve Trachsel. It's now a full count. 3-2 on Will Cordero.
We haven't had a 1-2-3 inning yet in this game by either pitcher.
Curveball 3-2 hit to the right side, and that's what they call a C&I base hit. So Will Cordero picks up his 2nd hit of the ball game, coming here in the 4th inning.
Well, watch the Mets on July 7th, 8th, and 10th for MSG Network's Cheering for Children's Week telethon. Bid on autographed memorabilia, the chance to take batting practice, to throw out the first pitch at Shea, or you can follow Matt Loughlin around for an entire game. Log on to MSGNetwork.com to see all the items available and tune in starting Monday to take part in the fun. All the benefits will, all the proceeds will benefit MSG Network's Cheering for Children Foundation. A day with Matty. You won't go home hungry.
So Ron Callaway's the batter. He takes a strike. Runner on first, 2 outs, 2-1. Mets on top of the Expos. You know, it's amazing. You look at this Montreal Expo organization, and you got to believe that the players are in doubt all the time about their existence. Yet, they're playing good baseball. They're in the hunt again this year.
Well, one thing they know is that they won't be contracted for at least a few years pending any relocation, because that was one of the conditions of last year's CBA, to put contraction on the table until 2006. So whether it's in Montreal, Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C., Portland, Oregon, or San Juan, they'll be around.
There's a strike. They had one trip this year where they played. In fact, the Mets were playing Seattle here in New York. They were playing in Puerto Rico. After the game on Sunday, they got on a plane and flew to Seattle, Washington. And they played the next day against the Seattle Mariners.
That's loony, isn't it?
No complaints when it's the big leagues. Inside 2-2. You know, it's funny, when you are in the big leagues, it's first class. No complaints. Now, if you're doing it in AA ball by bus, there's a complaint. 2-2 on Ron Callaway. Callaway with the sac fly in his ball game. Cordero with the leadoff first base. Callaway fouling the ball off. And a defense playing Callaway even up all the way around. Cordero broke into the major leagues as an infielder, has moved around quite a bit. It's always disheartening to a player when you can't stay at that position that you signed to play. There's a foul ball. And the guy that comes to mind and had trouble dealing with it was when Gary Sheffield came to the big leagues with Milwaukee as a shortstop.
This ball hugged the line until just before it got to the bag, and then kicked foul.
And Sheffield, of course, as you take another look at that foul ball, Sheffield had to move to third base, didn't like the idea of moving to third base. He get into a lot of trouble over there at third base, and he threw a ball away on purpose with the Brewers. He ended up in the outfield, but it took him a while to get situated. And he's had a real solid career, but once you start moving players around, you hurt their pride.
Amazing that he admitted that.
Yeah, with the Milwaukee Brewers. Popped up down the left field line. Wigginton and Reyes calling for it, making the grab. Nice play by Jose Reyes. So Reyes with a triple in this game and a nice defensive play against those guys, the Expos. Let's have the lead. We'll be back.
Oh, look, it's the guy who falls. Fall now.
Oh, I don't really do that anymore. It's not like I got that insurance.
What insurance?
Aflac.
They pay you cash if you can't work when you get hurt. Not that I ever do. Aisle 5 under lingerie.
Price check.
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Aflac.
Join us on Friday, July 11th at Shea Stadium for the 7th annual Merengue Night, presented by Chevrolet and McDonald's. See the Mets battle the Philadelphia Phillies at 7:10 p.m. Make sure to stay after the game for a special concert by Los Hermanos Rosario, Eddie Herrera, and Alex Bueno. For your tickets...
Jose Reyes fouled off the first pitch from Vasquez. He tried to bunt the ball. Ball probably probably wasn't picked up immediately by Barrett, because if it was, it would probably have been a relatively easy catch. Ball dropped in front of the backstop. So it's 0-1 on Jose Reyes, who has a triple in his ball game. He fouls that pitch off, so it's 0-2. A tree grows in Flushing, similar to that tree that grew in Brooklyn, that great movie. And that's the tree right there they're hoping he'll grow to be a strong oak. Outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And a reminder, keep cool as the season heats up. Sport your summer threads. Get your MLB authentic caps, jerseys, shirts, and more at Mets.com. Reyes, ground ball. Cabrera to first in time. 1 down. And once again, that Mets.com shop for all things baseball.
We told you before about Reyes' speed. That's a ground ball just to the right of the shortstop, and Reyes makes a pretty close play out of it.
So Reyes now 1 for 2 in his ball game. And the batter will be Steve Trachsel. Trachsel will be followed by Roger Cedeno, who's on deck, and Roberto Alomar down in the hole. Breaking ball to Trachsel. Gets him to turn away, but it's in the strike zone. 74-mile-per-hour hook. Another hook. Well, you threw 2. Why not throw 3? Fastball, and he fouls it off. So no balls, 2 strikes on Steve Trachsel. 5 hits in his game for the Mets, 4 for the Expos.
Guess that fastball was just an enticement, huh?
That thing can become a base hit also. And now we're going to go back to our Aflac trivia question. As you see Steve Trachsel in the background right there, he's moving around.
Number 19.
All right, the only Met with a longer streak of multi-hit games than Jason Phillips. I'm going to say Lee Mazzilli. But it's Felix. Felix
Millan. He'll be in town a few weeks from now with they are going to celebrate that 73 championship season.
Tell you what, Felix Millan, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated players the Mets have ever had.
Well, he'll be here, so you can tell Felix.
I already have.
Okay. There's going to be a lot of guys here. Willie Mays will be on hand. There's a ground ball second base. Scored 4-3. That'll do it for the Mets. But as we go to the 5th inning, Steve Trachsel has the lead. It's 2-1 Mets.
Wednesday night, the Metro Stars shine on Fox Sports Net. Catch all the action as Clint Mathis and the Metros shoot it out with the San Jose Earthquakes. The Metros host the Quakes Wednesday at 7:30, live on Fox Sports Net.
Attention Mets fans, get this year's Mets yearbook free and a free schedule poster when you subscribe to Inside Pitch. Inside Pitch is must-reading for every Mets fan. Each monthly issue includes player features, historical articles, minor league coverage, stats, national columnists, and much, much more. 12 monthly issues of Inside Pitch are only $32.95, plus the free Mets yearbook and schedule poster. To place your order, call now toll-free 1-800-421-7751. Call today.
In the morning, it's the WB11 Morning News.
Helpful. Trapped at the surface. It's a pretty tricky storm. We'll keep you updated.
Entertaining.
R&B's top star is cleaned up at the Billboard Music Awards.
Informative.
Over to the Cross Island Parkway at Jamaica Avenue.
At night, it's all the news you can use on the WB11 News at 10. In the morning, the WB11 Morning News. At night, the WB11 News at 10. Look to the WB11 News morning and night. It's New York's news.
Well, Pepsi invites you to show up right here at Shea on Wednesday, July 2nd for free admission to the Pepsi picnic area. The first 1,000 fans with an empty Pepsi can or bottle will be admitted. The Pepsi picnic area out there in left field. And back to live action here at Shea. Michael Barrett is the batter. We're in the 5th inning, and Barrett takes a ball. Barrett flied out his first time up. He said he was under the tutelage in his early years of his dad, who was a big baseball fan, and Michael Barrett picks up a base hit in the center field. So, tying run on first base with nobody out. And now we'll take a look at our Delta Airlines upcoming schedule.
Well, there are 2 more with the Expos here at Shea Stadium. And then the Mets will pay their first ever visit to Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. They tried to, at least to some extent, replicate old Crosley Field. Although they don't have an incline in left field, but you're going out to Cincinnati, that's the carrier that'll get you there. Delta.
So with Delta Airlines in the background, the batter now will be Javier Vazquez. Javier Lopez
is one heck of a hitting pitcher.
How about the way he's swinging the bat for those Atlanta Braves? Javi Lopez, as you look at Michael Barrett, another catcher in the National League, on first base. Vasquez squares the bunt. He bunts it to the right side. Mets will get one. Whoa! Good reaction by Robbie Alomar, keeping that ball in his glove rather than down the right field line. So 1 man gone. Runner moves to second base.
1-4 on the sacrifice. After Phillips bailed on it, Trachsel just kind of pushed it, and the ball sailed on him, and Alomar had to be alert. Trachsel got off the mound in a hurry. Phillips had to get out of the way. I don't know if that had anything to do with when Trachsel released the ball, but Alomar needed to make a good play.
So with 1 man gone, Indy Chavez, who's 0 for 2 in his ball game, will be the batter. Chavez, a one-time Met farmhand, ended up with the KC Royals, the Rule 5 draft. Now he's a member of the Expos. And he takes outside. Milton Bradley was the man they hoped to play center field for the Expos, but just didn't do it in Montreal. Barrett with the leadoff second base. There's a looper in the left field, right at Floyd to throw to second. Not in time. Barrett, who felt that ball would drop until he realized that's the Mets defense out there. That's how they're playing him.
Cliff Floyd has thrown out 7 runners this year. Didn't come all that far from making it 8. Barrett had to put the brakes on in a hurry. But Floyd did not make a real strong throw, and Barrett was able to get back.
So the batter now is Edwards Guzman. Guzman 2 for 2 in this game. He's got a single, he's got a double. Got a home run this year, 9 RBIs. And he just took a strike. So it's 0-1 on the Expo third baseman. Howie mentioned earlier, Fernando Tatis is injured.
So it's about half this Expos team.
Well, the big guy, Vladimir Guerrero's not in. That's always a problem.
Some would say he is half their team.
Yes, he is half their team. Maybe more. One hopper to Alomar. This should do it. Scored 4-3. That'll do it for the Expos here in the 5th. They go quietly. They strand a run. At the end of 4.5. Look at that face. It's 2-1 New York.
When the whole world is threatened, it's up to Sean Connery. Perfect. To unite the greatest powers on Earth. An invisible man. Dr. Jekyll. Captain Nemo. Dracula's Bride. Dorian Gray. On July 11th, the league is set. The legends come to life. Sean Connery. And the game is on. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Rated PG-13. July 11th. Only in theaters.
Oh, what a beautiful shot from Shea Stadium, Howie.
gorgeous sunset. They say the weather's going to be great all week if you're thinking about coming out to the ballpark. 2 more with the Expos here at Shea.
Robbie Alomar will be here. He's 1 for 2 tonight. He's got a single. Both teams with 5 hits in this game. Mets have a 2-1 lead. 1-1 on the Mets second baseman. He'll be followed by Jeremy Burnitz. And down in the hole, you got Cliff Floyd. Of course, down in the hole was popularized and coined by the great Red Baba. Alomar pulls it to first. And a flip to Vasquez, who's covering. Scored 3-1, 1 down.
The center fielder, number 20, Jeremy Burnitz.
So the batter now with 1 out be Jeremy Burnitz, who's playing center field tonight for the Mets. As I mentioned, he'll be followed by Cliff Floyd. Javier Vazquez. Right now on the losing end of this ball game, Steve Trachsel starting for the Mets on the positive side. There's a bullet foul down the right field line. Now, usually the chatter, the talk in the dugout, I would say 95% of the time is about swinging the bat. You never see anybody in there with their glove.
Other than pitchers talking about pitching.
Yeah, but you know what? A catcher does that as a courtesy. He's really not into it. Jay Bell talking to Jason Phillips, and Burnitz drives his ball right field, and it's extra bases. Burnitz on his way to second base. Strong throw. Not in time.
What a throw.
Outstanding throw by Callaway.
Jeremy Burnitz hits this one to the right field wall, and he takes off right out of the box. Now, this is a good play to begin with, a bare-hand pickup, but from the warning track, Callaway throws a strike to second base, and Jeremy Burnitz just beats it out. Now, is he going hard all the way? Well, he certainly turned it on after he got around first base. Well, what a throw by Ron Callaway.
I can remember a few years ago a right fielder making a throw like that, but to home plate from that same area in right field. And he put his name on the leaderboard as far as throwing outfielders in baseball, and his name, Vladimir Guerrero. The Expos were in town. Callaway was very impressive with that throw.
There's a lesson as Cliff Floyd takes a ball in that throw from Ron Callaway, and the lesson is to the hitters. When you hit a ball, you better get out of the box in a hurry, because you spend that extra second staring at it or admiring it. And on a play like that, you'd be back in the dugout right now.
Yeah, Burnitz busted right out of that batter's box, and he picked himself up a double. Now he's in scoring position for Cliff Floyd, who takes inside. So Floyd is hitting, and you got Ty Wigginton on deck in a base open. Wigginton with the big blow in tonight's game. A double, and he drove in 2 runs. So Frank Robinson is offering him some type of respect right here. That fastball was thrown right by Cliff Floyd at 93 miles per hour. Two balls, 1 strike, 1 out. Floyd 1 for 1 in the game. He's also walked and scored a run. Pretty interesting situation. Denny Walling looking on. Vasquez going right after Floyd with the base open. Missed inside. Now you see the catcher Barrett looking in the dugout wondering, well, Frank, what do you want to do? He said pitch to him.
Yeah, the guy on deck hit one to dead center for a 2-run double. Ty Wigginton his last time up, so there's no comfort level there for Vasquez.
So that makes you put the book away. How about this, going right after an established left-handed hitter, and Cliff Floyd, no slouch at the plate. In fact, 14 home runs, 42 RBIs. So Ty Wigginton earning some respect throughout the National League. And he did it tonight. He impressed Frank Robinson with a double and 2 RBIs. They go to second, and Benitez is back. I mean, if Frank Robinson wanted to, he'd just say, put him on. Pitch to Ty Wigginton, the right-handed hitter.
I mentioned Cliff did not swing the bat real well over the weekend. Only 3 for 16 in the series against the Yankees. Frank managed Cliff last season.
This is going to hurt him. There should be at least a single for Cliff Floyd as Burnett scores, and Callaway gets that ball in a hurry. That's ordinarily a double, but Cliff Floyd, one thing, he has a bad leg, and the other is Callaway with that great arm. Almost threw up Burnett to second base, but Burnett's hustling out of the batter's box. Got a double.
And Cliff Floyd turned on that pitch and gives the Mets a 3-1 lead. Burnett's read it accurately and scored easily. As soon as he sees that ball off the bat of Floyd hit so hard, there was no chance for Cordero at first. Jeremy had no problem coming around to score.
So do you give an assist to Ty Wigginton? They were forced to pitch to Cliff Floyd, who hits a single and drives in a run. Wigginton has a double in this game and 2 RBIs. It's 0-1 on the Met third baseman as Michael Barrett goes out to talk to Vasquez. Jason Phillips is on deck. So Frank Robinson opted to pitch to the left-handed swinging Floyd because of that.
Well, Ty Wigginton got that high fastball and crushed it 400 feet just beyond the reach of Chavez in center field. That put the Mets up 2-1 in the third inning. Now they have an extra run.
Nice play by Michael Barrett. So it's 1 ball and 1 strike on Wigginton. Vasquez was beaten by Wigginton in that last AB, and he gets Wigginton to hit a high fly ball left field. Wilkerson surrounding him, and he makes the grab. 2 down. And a reminder on Monday through Friday on Fox Sports Net, don't miss 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Your daily home for extreme sports. Catch the coolest biking, surfing, skating, and much more. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 weekdays at 5 on Fox Sports Net. Phillips takes a breaking ball for a strike, so it's 0-1 on the Met first baseman. But Jason Phillips felt that when he got into the big leagues and he's batting, you'd hear the Met catcher or another team the catcher, but you hear Mets first baseman. If he heard it, he'd have to step out of the box and wonder why.
You know, it was funny, Fran. He played a ball at first base last night that showed you what his catcher's instincts are, because there was a hard hit ground ball, 1 hopper really, and he just moved to his right and kind of crouched and kept it in front of him the way a catcher would on a ball in the dirt. It was hit so hard, Jason had time to simply pick it up, go to the bag for the out.
The only thing is he was wishing he had a chest protector.
Yeah, exactly.
And he was hoping right there to make contact, but he doesn't. But here in the bottom of the 5th, the Mets pick up a run. After 5, they have a 2-run lead. Oh, back here at Shea Stadium as we go to the top of the 6th, it's time to take a look at that Jeep game summary. Howie.
Montreal got on the board first, Fran. Run driven in by Ron Callaway, then Cliff Floyd. Ty Wigginton took over offensively, and Steve Trachsel has a 3-1 lead.
Orlando Cabrera leads it off for the Expos, and he pops it foul. Cabrera 0 for 2 tonight. Get him while he's down. It's a 300 hitter. Cabrera batting .302 coming into tonight's action. 11 home runs, 45 RBIs. Nice crowd on hand tonight for the first of three. We'll pick it up again tomorrow night. Catch all that action on MSG Network. Met baseball. If you can't make it out to the ballpark, check it out on MSG tomorrow night. There's a friendly hop to Jose Reyes. One down. Well, it's going to be interesting, Howie, to watch the development of the left side of this infield.
That's Reyes at short, Wigginton at third, and you talked about the rest of this series. It'll be interesting to watch the development of Aaron Heilman, who's going to pitch tomorrow night's game against Sonny Kim.
And they probably told him, his teammates probably told him, you know what, our defense is a whole lot better than what we showed you in your first outing. Jose Vidro's 0 for 2. He's up. He's the bat. Switch hitting second baseman. All kinds of talent. Takes a strike. When Vidro first came to the Montreal EXPOS, I'll never forget it. They had Mickey Morandini with the ball club, who was an established second baseman, and they were unsure of Vidro. Of course, then when Vidro's career took off, they said, we only had Mickey Morandini to motivate him. I think they had him as a safety net.
Well, it's worked out for Vidro in another sense. You can't get him out of the lineup now. And even with all the injuries that he's had, he won't volunteer to take a day off. Frank Robinson goes to him when he wants to give him a rest and simply says, listen, you're sitting today because of injuries A, B, C, and D. He's had plenty of them.
I'd never have a middle infielder rest.
If he's healthy.
If he's healthy, right. Although, you know what? In a serious vein, if there's a difficult part, or the tired part is more mental. So, you know, occasionally a mental health day is okay. Cal Ripken is strong mentally. He had no mental health days, did he? Vidro with the Baltimore chop. Jason Phillips gets him at first base. 2 down.
You go back in Mets history. Buddy Harrelson's a perfect example. Right here, Vidro hits down on the ball, and there are all kinds of hang time involved, but Jason Phillips is able to put the tag on Vidro. So now there are 2 men away.
It's smart. See the way he put the glove? He didn't use just the one hand. He held the glove, he closed it with the bare hand for the tag. He catches it one-handed, but you don't want that runner to knock the ball out of your glove. And it was almost an uncomfortable tag between Jason Phillips and Vidro. Strike one to Brad Wilkerson, who's 0 for 1.
Mentioned Buddy Harrelson, Fran. He'd play 140, 145 games. He'd be 20 pounds lighter by September than he was in April. He was in there just about every game. And talk about 140 odd games. Sometimes, you know, there were years when he was in the reserves and he would miss games because he had to go to his military obligation. It's the only way they got him out of the lineup.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because back then that military obligation, you had to fulfill it. Vietnam War was at its peak. There were a lot of major league players and minor league players leaving their ball clubs for summer camp.
A couple weeks at a time.
Yeah, I did it. And also weekends to put in your time. Swung on and missed 2 and 2. But that was a big thing back then. Major league teams would get players into the National Guard or Army Reserve so they could put in their fulfill their military obligation and then get back to playing ball. 2-2 pitch to Wilkerson is outside, 3 and 2.
I remember one year Wayne Garrett, I don't believe, started the season with the Mets and didn't join the club until right around this time of year. Maybe early July or even later in the month because of his military obligations.
By the way, on a weekend when they celebrate that 73 campaign, he'll be here, I'm told. Trachsel will be here. He made that look easy. He set the Expos down quietly here in the 6th. Aaron Heilman hopes the defense will be better next time.
Spend your summer nights at Shea. Come see the amazing action as the Mets battle the Braves Monday, July 7th at 7:10 p.m. The first 40,000 fans will receive an exclusive Fleer baseball card pack featuring your 2003 New York Mets. For tickets, call 718-507-TIXX or log on to Mets.com.
Leading off for the Mets, Vance Wilson. He's 0 for 2, and he takes a ball. By the way, it's time for the Coors Light Silver Bullet 6th. Fran Rosa from Brooklyn, New York is today's lucky fan. That means if the Mets hit a home run this inning, the Fran wins dinner for 2 at Matchmakers. Can't beat Matchmakers. To enter, send a postcard with your name, address, date-time phone number, and date of birth to the address below. Steve Trachsel talking about Matchmakers. 1-1 on Wilson. 2-1. Fran in Brooklyn is pulling for a dinger right now as you look at Jose Reyes, who has a triple in this game. There's a fly ball right field. And the ball is caught out there by the right fielder, Ron Callaway.
The shortstop, number 7, Jose Reyes.
Matchmakers not too far from Shea Stadium here in Maspeth.
Now, Fran Rosa is up for dinner at Matchmakers if there's a home run. So good luck, Fran Rosa from Brooklyn, New York. Jose Reyes could do it, Efrain. Reyes taking that breaking ball for a strike. He's 1 for 2. It was a triple. A little bit late with that fastball. A little bit late on that fastball. No balls and 2 strikes on the Mets shortstop. He has certainly generated some interest and energy here at Shea. Didn't bite. 1 ball and 2 strikes. I liked Jose Reyes' attitude, not this past spring, but the spring before when he announced that he will shortly be in the major leagues.
Well, he was right.
And he was right. Reyes fouls it off. Art Howe, you know, is very high on this shortstop. He's happy to be able to keep him in the big leagues. Of course, he wasn't very happy last night.
Well, he's been patient with Reyes, but he lost his patience on the field when he was finally ejected by umpire Tim Timmons. According to Art, he wouldn't let him get his third baseman's attention. It's a close play at third, and the ball will beat the base runner here, Alfonso Soriano. Wigginton just didn't get the tag down in time, as it looked as though from one angle Wigginton might have nicked him. From another, it looked as though Soriano got his hand in. And Art Howe was really incensed that when he went to ask Ty Wigginton his opinion, Timmons said, well, don't ask him. I don't want you asking him. And so our quote tonight, delivered by Art Howe, is brought to you by Tri-State Consumer Auto Insurance.
He said, I thought I missed the call, and I was... This is Art Howe on the ejection last night. I thought he missed the call, and I was fine with the argument. But I'll be darned if an umpire is going to tell me not to talk to one of my players.
You know, I've never heard that. Had you ever heard of a situation where an umpire said, just get away from to a manager,
no,
not his own player, not to talk to him?
And I'll tell you a story that I was witness to. I was involved in it when Ty Wigginton was the player that Art Howe wanted to talk to. I was a batter, and our manager came out. Here's a 1-2 pitch to Jose Reyes, fouls it back again. The manager was Earl Weaver. Earl had an acrimonious relationship with Bill Haller. Bill Haller was umpiring. I was hitting. Andy Etchebarren was catching. I can't remember the pitcher in Baltimore. And Earl thought he missed a call. So Earl starts out, and Bill Haller said, Earl, if you come on and talk to me, I'm going to throw you out. Don't do it, Earl. There's the 1-2 pitch, and Reyes fouls it off. So Weaver continues to come on. He says, I want to talk to my catcher. And Bill Haller never stopped him. So he came out and he looked at Andy Etchebarren and he said, this is the worst umpire I've ever been around. And he was telling Andy Etchebarren, and Bill Haller was right behind him. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Got him. So Reyes, after fouling off a few pitches, strikes out. You know, going back to last night's play, as you look at this last pitch. A few years ago, Howie, we talked on the air about how important the tag is that the infielders make today. It has become more important today than ever before because of this here, television. The umpires know it. They know that there's a lot of different camera angles. It'll be scrutinized and talked about. So there's no more neighborhood play. The sweep tag has become almost obsolete. You got to go down there with your glove and make the tag. And it's great for runners because if you're tricky enough with your hands or your feet, you might be able to get in there even though the ball beats you. But the tag now that is employed by infielders is more important than ever before. And we saw it last night. Swung on and missed. 1-2. And it was a great shot. Here it is again. Look at this now. Soriano going into third base, and he's able to get around the glove with his hand. Years ago, he's out as soon as the ball hit the glove. But now the umpire waits, he watches, and the infielder has to make the tag. Now, umpires can also miss a call even though they watch it closely. But again, that tag is so important. Remember the sweep tag, and then, you know, you didn't have to touch him, and he was out? Forget about it. Ground ball to third. This will do it for Trachsel and the Mets here in the 6th inning. They fail to score after 6. It's 3-1, New York.
Tonight on MSG at 11, catch an all-new episode of Tee to Green, presented by Canon, with golf pros, tips, celebrities, and more. Mike Crispino's special guest golfer tonight is New York Rangers goaltender Mike Dunham. That's tonight at 11 on MSG Network.
7th inning, it's 3-1. The Mets on top of Montreal. Will Cordero will lead it off. And now back in with the play-by-play, Howie Rose.
All right, Fran, we go to the 7th, and Steve Trachsel has retired 5 in a row, which might not sound like a whole lot, but consider that in the 6th inning. It was the first time that Trachsel had gotten through the side in order, working a 1-2-3 inning. And now Will Cordero takes outside from Trachsel to start the 7th. That is not David Wells, but Scott Stewart bears little resemblance to the Yankees left-hander, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
1-1 to Cordero.
Looks like his brother.
Similarly built.
Portly.
Left-handed.
Tell you what, I'll tell you one thing. That David Wells has been around a long time. Hasn't been in the best of shape, but he certainly is a outstanding major league pitcher who throws the ball over the plate.
Yeah, how remarkable is it that halfway through the season, literally, because the Yankees got to the halfway point last night, tonight the Mets get to the halfway point. 4 batters have been walked all year by David Wells.
It's incredible. Got to keep him out of those diners.
1-2 to Cordero low. Brett Saberhagen had a year like that for the Mets. I believe it was back in 1994, the season that was shortened in August because of the strike, where I think he only walked 10 or 11 batters up to that point. Cordero jammed, still 2-2. Nice play by the ball boy down the left field line. Cordero 2 out of 2 in this game, so he's had 7 hits his last 11 trips to the plate.
And Steve Trachsel once again into the 7th inning.
Boy, the Mets have needed that. They didn't get it from Leiter. They didn't get it from Glavine. They didn't get it from Griffiths. In the air to right field. Over is Cedeno, and there's one away.
And Trachsel continues to throw strikes. He's very aggressive on the mound. You know, it's amazing to watch him on the field how intense he is. And off the field, he's as easygoing as you can get.
Southern California. Steve from one of the outskirts of Anaheim. The Mets were there recently, and he had all kinds of family there when he pitched his 1-hitter against the Angels.
He used to go to the games, the Angel games, and I think he told me he used to go by Brian Downing's house when he was growing up.
Here's Callaway taking low. Wouldn't you know it, Fran? We're in Anaheim, going to the game that Trachsel, I guess it was the night before Trachsel pitched the 1-hitter, or 2 days before. I guess it was the Friday night game. I get into a cab right behind Trachsel, who's driving himself to the ballpark. 1-1. Now, you know, it's late afternoon, Southern California. They got a few cars on the road, right? But I know Trachsel's from around there. So I say to the cabbie what I always wanted to say to a cabbie, follow that car. I figure he knows a shortcut. 1 and 2 now to Callaway. So what happens? Trachsel takes off, and he veers away from where the traffic's going. I figure this is perfect. Cab driver, he goes the other way, right into the teeth of traffic. Said, what'd you do that for? Callaway down on strikes. Foul tip held by Wilson, 2 men away. He said, oh, he made a wrong turn. He doesn't know where he's going. That's not the way to the ballpark. Callaway down on strikes, 2 out, nobody on. So wouldn't you know it? My cab gets to the ballpark. Trachsel's already in uniform.
Oh, I'm sure. Wouldn't it be funny, though, if he was going to make a stop at his parents' house and you followed him there?
Right.
I'd love that.
He's not pitching until Sunday. He gets to the game in the 5th inning.
And he'd say, Howie, really doing some research. Follow me home.
Michael Barrett, the batter.
2 cabs
1 for 2.
2 cabs pull up in front of his father's house, mother's house.
Trachsel just getting to the century mark with that last pitch to Barrett.
Well, his dad used to have him throw 100 pitches. That's an interesting number right there. 100 pitches tonight, now 101. His dad would have him throw 100 pitches in the backyard when he was a kid. So he likes that 100.
And he does not need a note from home to continue in this game. Macias in the on-deck circle for the Expos as a potential pinch hitter for Vasquez. 2 and 1 to Barrett.
Mentioned Brian Downing. Brian Downing was one of the first hitters I ever saw that lifted weights and it helped his career. He played with the White Sox. Once he started to bulk up, he became a good major league hitter.
But now Trachsel behind Barrett, 3 and 1. Jose Macias, the guy on deck, is a switch hitter. Nothing doing in the Mets bullpen.
There's a man that couldn't get into a cab.
Yeah. You'd need a high carriage.
Can you picture him in Central Park on one of those horse and buggies? Mr. Met, you know, like midnight?
Only during the day. That's the second walk given up by Trachsel as he puts the number 8 hitter on. He had retired 7 in a row. And now Jose Macias will come up and hit for Vasquez.
How about that? He can sign. He doesn't talk. But you know what? Mr. Met just doesn't need that person. He doesn't need that talking for his personality. He has an electric personality.
That's what he's doing. He's signing Mr. Met. You know, when we did that junior Mets caster contest at the Sports Authority out in Westbury, kids are giving us stuff to sign, and who had signed earlier? There it is, Mr. Met. Unmistakable autograph.
Yeah, that was the junior Mets caster at Sports Authority in Westbury, New York, and it was very popular.
So Trachsel to the pinch hitter, switch hitting Macias as Steve continues to give the Mets quality innings, Fran.
We showed that graphic in the top of the show, those 7 innings and 9 innings. And tonight he's right back in the 7th inning. So Art Howe has to be elated by his effort again tonight.
So Macias, 16 for his last 45, a hot hitter. Takes upstairs, ball 2. Now the Mets getting some people loose in their bullpen. Nobody had been throwing as Trachsel was pitching to Barrett. Trachsel with 2 outs here in the 7th inning.
Look at those numbers tonight.
And there's Lloyd, the left-hander, and Weathers, the right-hander, loosening up.
Lloyd, number 17, the big left-hander.
The on-deck batter is a left-hand batter, Andy Chavez.
Whoop.
2 and 1 now to Macias.
Vance Wilson mask. Did that pop off his head? Let's take a look at this again. Ooh. How about that? And he caught it like it was no big deal. I'd have been on the ground. Have him come out, put some ice on my coconut.
Michael Barrett with a short lead at first. Wigginton even with the bag at third. See us a slash hitter, but he takes ball 3.
You don't want the defense to have that 7th inning lull where all of a sudden, bang, the other club is back in the ball game. Because you're waiting for something to happen. You lose that step or 2 because of the 7th inning lull.
Trachsel ready. And the 3-1 on the way, and it's fouled back. So that'll mean that the runner at first, Macias, will have an automatic start with 2 out and a full count. Mets leading 3-1 here in the 7th. They've out-hit the Expos 7-5. And with the runner about to be in motion, Jason Phillips, the first baseman, will drop back, play behind the runner. Take some of that hole away on the right side. Phillips still over by the line. Crowd trying to push Trachsel through this confrontation. And he got him. A foul tip held by Vance Wilson. Macias down on strikes. 3 strikeouts for Trachsel. The Expos done in the 7th. And it's time to stretch at Shea.
I got some serious demons I'm fighting.
If you think you've seen everything on Mike Tyson, think again.
I hate my life now. Maybe in my next life, I'll have a better life.
Mike Tyson, Beyond the Glory. Viewer discretion strongly advised.
Tonight at 10:30 on MSG, catch an all-new Angles presented by Beck's. It'll be a writer's block edition where several local writers kick around a variety of topics with Al Troutwig. That's tonight at 10:30. Angles presented by Beck's on MSG. Crowd standing for the 7th inning stretch here at Shea. Javier Vazquez out of the game now after being hit for by Macias. And the finish line stats on Vasquez come to you courtesy of OTB. Vasquez walked 3 in the first inning. That didn't hurt him. Gave up runs in the 3rd, 2-run double by Wigginton, and 1 in the 5th, RBI single by Floyd. So Vasquez, of course, cannot win. He can lose. And left-hander Scott Stewart comes out of the bullpen to pick up for Vasquez here in the Mets 7th. So Stewart making his 40th appearance of the year.
So Scott Stewart's numbers, 22 strikeouts in 33 and 2/3 innings, as he mentioned. Looks a little bit like David Wells when he's on the mound. But in the stands, a lot of Met fans tonight. Nice crowd on hand here tonight. And don't forget, tomorrow night and Wednesday nights, Mets will be right back here at Shea. So come on out to Shea Stadium. A lot of excitement in the stands tonight.
Stewart will face the top of the Mets batting order in the 7th inning. Roger Cedeno to be followed by Roberto Alomar and Jeremy Burnitz. Guess Camp Mohawk doesn't start for a while for that youngster, unless it could be a day camp that he goes to during the day. I'd imagine that's what it is.
Thought camp already started.
Well, yeah, most of them started. I'd imagine the day camps would have started today, maybe a little bit later in the week.
Do you still go to camp?
I try.
They pull you off the bus.
I was a Hall of Fame counselor.
Were you?
At North Shore Day Camp.
Wow.
6 years. I was a player's manager. Let's put it that way.
Do what you want.
That's it. Roger Cedeno fouls one down the right field line. Whatever you do, don't let me see it.
A player's manager.
Cedeno with 1 out of 3 in this game. And Stewart misses high with a fastball. So Cedeno, a switch hitter, turns around. Alomar will do the same. And Burnitz, Floyd, left-hand batters to follow against this left-hand pitcher, Scott Stewart, who hits the outside corner with a fastball, 1-2. Here's Robbie waiting on deck. Still 1-2 to Cedeno. Scott Stewart had 17 saves for the Expos last year. And Art Howe was worried about what was going on in the American League. But then Stewart had bone spurs taken out of his elbow after the season. And he comes back to strike out Cedeno, 1 man away. These days, Rocky Biddle serves as the closer for the Expos.
Man, here's that fastball out over the plate. Roger just swinging right through it. Had a good swing.
So Alomar now turns around to the right side from where he's hit just a .173 this year after going 1 for 3 left-handed against Vasquez. Scott Stewart to Alomar and right to Vidro. And quickly 2 Mets retired. And now 7 in a row retired by Montreal pitching. So 2 out, nobody on for Jeremy Burnett. Jeremy's been on base twice, drew a walk, popped up, and then doubled and scored in the 5th inning. And the first pitch by Stewart, a curveball that drops over the outside corner, 0-1. Jeremy keeping the average respectable at .275. Cliff Floyd waiting on deck. Slider missed outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Burnett's just 1 for 5 in the past against Scott Stewart. And the count now 1 ball and 2 strikes to Jeremy. Expos play him straight away in the outfield. Stewart working quickly here with 2 out, nobody on. Weakly hit. Vidro, good range. Can he get him from there? Nope.
Well, we've had an example tonight twice of C&I base hits, and they all count. Vidro, who's a good one, just didn't have enough on it to get Jeremy Burnett.
So tough for an infielder to throw across his body because he can't set and he's off balance.
And look what Cliff Floyd has done tonight. He tattoos that ball off the left center field wall earlier in the game, and then he hit a bullet down the right field line. So Cliff Floyd with that RBI and has 2 hits. He walked in the first, doubled in the third, and then an RBI single in the 5th.
And the first pitch by Stewart. Changeup sits low. 1 ball, no strikes on Cliff Floyd. Floyd 1 for 6 against Stewart. And Burnett's trying to get a read on this left-hand pitcher with a very short lead at first. Nice hop for Vidro. And the Mets are done in the 7th. 1 hit, 1 left. On to the 8th. 3-1 New York. David Weathers enters the game, part of a double switch for the Mets. Jeremy Burnett slides from center field to left field. Cliff Floyd leaves the game, and Timo Perez takes over in center, so keeping a scorecard. Floyd leaves. Weathers will bat in his spot, which is 4th in the batting order, and Timo Perez slotted into the 9th hole. So the busy David Weathers gets some more work as he makes his 43rd appearance of the year. Weathers pitched 1 scoreless inning last night, was ejected from the game on Saturday for arguing from the bench after he had come out of the game. And his first assignment will be Endy Chavez. Mets will tighten up on the infield. The corner is in on the grass. Chavez showed bunt, pulled it back. It's 0-1. Chavez can fly, and so you see Wigginton at 3rd, Phillips at 1st, in very tight against the bunt possibility. Mets with a 2-run lead here, 3-1 New York. And again, he bluffed a bunt, but takes strike 2. Mets have kept the speedy Chavez off base. He's 0 for 3. And now Weathers back 0-2, and he brushes Chavez off the plate. Endy Chavez really bounced around. Armando Benitez getting ready if needed in the 8th, and certainly if Weathers can do the job here in the 8th inning for the 9th inning. 2-2. Chavez originally was signed by the Mets, and then the Kansas City Royals took him in the Rule 5 draft. Tigers took him from the Royals on waivers. The Mets claimed him back, and then the Expos claimed him from the Mets. And Chavez on 2-2 dunks one into center. So after a couple of pitches that brushed Chavez off the plate, Weathers came in with a fastball, and Chavez is aboard. Tonight on Fox Sports Net, you can catch a great combo of sports news and entertainment on the best sports show period. That's right after the Mets postgame show here on Fox Sports Net. Edwards Guzman 2 for 3 in the game. Phillips holding against Chavez at first. Wigginton even with the bag at third. And a slider for a strike to Guzman. 0-1. Expos down by 2. Chavez with 14 stolen bases, and Weathers keeping close tabs on him. And the 0-1 hit in the air to center field, right at Timo. He barely had to move. That'll get Chavez back to first, 1 away, and now it's Orlando Cabrera.
So David Weathers with that bulldog attitude coming in the ball game and throwing strikes. Talking to Jack McKeon when the Marlins were in town, he had David Weathers in Cincinnati. He thought the world of him. In fact, he said that's the type of guy I need on the ball club right now, is a guy like Weathers who, you know, you hand him the ball and he never says no.
Chavez stretches the lead out. Cabrera, the leading home run hitter on this Expos team, as Chavez dives back. Vladimir Guerrero's been bothered by that sore back. He's got a herniated disc, the reason that he's on the DL. So Guerrero in 50 games with only 8 home runs. Cabrera leading the team with 11. Chavez continues to stretch that lead. Not an enormous one, but a pretty good sized one. And he's got the dive timed perfectly. And Julio Menong getting set if necessary. 0-1 on Cabrera.
On Cabrera, we mentioned his numbers before, is way out in front on that pitch. Good pitch from David Weathers. We mentioned Cabrera's numbers coming into tonight's action, hitting 300, 11 home runs, 45 RBIs, but he's 0 for 3 tonight. Well, you really got to tip your cap to some of these Expo players who are having big years again, because they don't play in front of a jam-packed big old crowd up there in Montreal. And of course, they're home ballparks in Montreal, but sometimes in Puerto Rico. But again, we go back to what I said earlier in the game. It's the big leagues. That's the key.
Big league living.
Every time you get a hit, it's a big league hit. That's what you played all those games for as an amateur, to get the big leagues.
Slowly hit. Weathers has to get to the bag. Phillips recovers, and a good play by Weathers.
That was a good play, is right. You know, it looks kind of simple as the pitcher runs over to the base, but it's almost, you know, a rhythm type of thing. And when somebody kind of delays flipping your ball, see, Phillips had trouble grabbing that ball, but Weathers kept his eye on Phillips, even though he was behind him, and was able to get over. Watch this. He looked for the bag, and then he went back for the ball and was able to catch it. Sign of a pretty good athlete.
Switch hitter Jose Vidro is coming up for the Expos. Art Howe goes to the mound, and Armando Benitez will be called on for a 4-out save. So Benitez and Vidro will be the confrontation. Weathers leaves, and Armando is saluted.
Not too close. What do you think? I got that insurance?
What insurance is that, Yogi?
Aflac.
The one you really need to have. If you don't have it, that's why you need it.
Need what?
Aflac.
Well, if you get hurt and miss work, it won't hurt to miss work. And they give you cash, which is just as good as money.
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
The Expos have the tying run on second with 2 men out. David Weathers, after giving up the leadoff single to Chavez, got the next 2. And now Armando Benitez, in his 40th appearance of the year, will go after a guy that he's pretty much dominated when he's seen him in the past, Jose Vidro, who is just 1 for 9 against Benitez. And he hits the first pitch in the air to center. Easy play for Timo. And the Expos are done in the 8th. Leadoff single, nothing more. Middle of the 8th, 3-1 New York.
Battle the haze on those summer Shea days with your Verizon Mets visor. On Tuesday, July 8th, the first 35,000 adults 13 and over to pour through the styles will watch in style as the Mets brave the Braves. The game starts at 7:10, so hurry out to the park. For tickets, call 718-507-TIXX or log on to Mets.com.
Tonight on MSG, get all the day's news, scores, and highlights on MSG Sports Desk with Kurt Menefee and John Giannone. Presented by Toyota. Is Brian Leach moving on from the New York Rangers? Andre Agassi will be moving out at Wimbledon. And are the Miami Hurricanes in or out of the Big East? That's all coming up tonight.
See that score? Brooklyn Cyclones on top of Staten Island Yankees, 3-0 in the 8th inning.
And right here, Julio Mayon is the new pitcher for the Expos as we go to the last of the 8th inning. He picks up for Scott Stewart. Mayon from the Dominican Republic. And his first pitch to Ty Wigginton, hit to left field. Back goes Wilkerson, and he makes the catch. So 1 pitch and 1 out.
Ty Wigginton smoking that ball left field, but Wilkerson was positioned properly, made the grab. A solid left fielder who was involved in a play earlier in the ball game in which my partner Howie Rose chastised him for not stopping a ball that was ruled as a triple.
Yeah, you know, I thought he should have been able to knock the ball down and hold Reyes to 1 and maybe 2, but the opinion was not shared by the official score, and that's certainly his prerogative.
Or anybody else that was listening.
No, that's not true. 1 ball, no strikes to Phillips. I had several people in the press room when I paid a visit earlier say should have been 1 and 2.
Did you give him money?
Didn't have to.
But would have.
If necessary. Deep to right. Galloway at the wall, and he makes the catch.
There's 2 long outs right there.
So 2 long fly balls, which came very close to putting some big smiles on our McDonald's New York Mets fans of the game. But the Met fans in attendance, and a lot of young ones at that, pretty happy with the score to this point. 3-1 New York with 2 outs in the last of the 8th.
So you did a grassroots survey in the press room. That's a great place for a grassroots survey. They put the fork down long enough?
Hey. 0-1 to Vance Wilson as Mayon hits the outside corner. They were seated and attentive, and the food had been cleared off the table. Need him, got him, need him. Baseball, that's a fistful of baseball cards. Line the other way. If I wasn't dumb enough to throw mine out, it would have been a fistful of money.
You know, we did a feature years ago on a pregame show for Sports Channel about trading cards, and you know what? All the players that we interviewed, their moms threw the cards out.
They always blame mom. Nobody takes any responsibility. No accountability anymore.
Mom said, you know what value is this? Throw them out.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Wilson.
What astounds me is people pay that kind of money for baseball cards.
I've never understood paying for an autograph that you didn't see signed.
That's oh boy. Point well taken.
1-2 pitch on the way, and it's ripped and picked by Guzman. Nice play, Edwards Guzman, and Wilson retired. So the Mets go in order in the 8th inning. Mayon does his job. Now it's up to Benitez to do his and preserve the win for Trachsel.
New York sports teams
Talk. Opinions. News. Exclusives. With timely, opinionated, insightful coverage, MSG Network delivers 24/7, just like New York. MSG, the ultimate destination for New York sports fans. This is our town.
Tomorrow night on MSG Network, Mets and the Expos play Game 2 of their 3-game series. Geico Mets on deck with Matt Loughlin at 6:30. First pitch 7:10. Aaron Heilman against Sonny Kim. Or you can tune to Fox Sports Net and watch the game presented entirely in Spanish. That's Tuesday on MSG, presented by Blimpie. Brad Wilkerson 0 for 2 with a walk. Takes the fastball.
Good move, good call, fastball. Throw it right over that plate. Make him hit it some places. You look at the new left fielder, Raul Gonzalez.
So Jeremy Burnitz has now played all 3 positions tonight as he slides to right. Cedeno out of the game. 1-1 to Wilkerson.
Key man right here. Get that first hitter out. You have a 2-run lead.
Armando looking for his 19th save, trying to save Steve Trachsel's 7th win of the year. But he missed the outside corner, and it's 2-1. Art Howe may be timing Benitez's delivery to the plate.
Well, no need to right now because of nobody on base, but key right here. Throw strikes, throw it in that strike zone for Wilkerson. Target right over the heart of the plate.
Why else would you be going to the stopwatch? I mean, he's not, unless that's just to count the pitches. I wouldn't think that's a factor.
No, look at that. Right, that perfect target right over the heart of the plate. Say, here you go.
I remember when Davey Johnson was the manager, they would have the pitcher's times to the plate, and they'd have 2 markings, one with nobody on, one with a runner on. 2-2 was low. He went with a splitter on 2-2.
Well, now he's got to throw, you know. When you're on top of those hitters, you put them on their heels. They're defensive hitters. He's going to sit on that fastball right now. Target, heart of the plate.
Got him. So Benitez throws a pitch that's foul tipped and held by Wilson. 1 man away.
Take a look at it again. That target right over the heart of the plate. Must have been a splitter right there. 3-2 splitter. A lot of confidence in that pitch. It is. It looks like he's timing him to the plate with nobody on. Target over the heart of the plate. Fastball misses outside.
1-0 to Will Cordero.
It's funny. Sometimes Armando Benitez rears back and tries to throw the ball so hard. When those muscles tighten up, you lose a lot of your velocity.
So Benitez behind Will Cordero 2-0. Mets have a 3-1 lead, so a 2-run cushion for Benitez. Armando trying to retire the Expos here, who gave him fits early in the season when Benitez was really struggling. 2-1 to Cordero.
You know, right now, throw that fastball. Easiest pitch to control. You certainly don't want to walk anybody and bring the tying run to the plate.
Hit hard. Nice play by Wigginton. And Phillips can't make the play.
He couldn't stretch any further. He tried. He probably stretched prematurely. He got over anxious with his stretch. Nice play right there by Ty Wigginton. Strong hands taking that ball near the heel of the glove. And he probably, as I said, went out there prematurely. And that'll happen to a guy who is not really a first baseman. So it scored a base hit. The other thing is when you're not that far out, spread eagle, what you can do is you can pick that ball a lot easier.
So Cordero aboard. Ron Callaway, who has 7 home runs, represents the tying run of the ball game.
That was, after that stretch, that was almost an impossible get when the ball came towards him.
Looks like a hamstring waiting to pop.
Yeah.
0-1 to Callaway. Will pop on that fastball from Benitez. Infield at double play depth. Phillips playing behind Cordero, who is not a fast runner. Now, of course, if you're Cordero, you may want to think about second base, if only to take the double play off here.
I certainly would, because if you're not being held on, you have an inexperienced first baseman. He'd have to cut in behind you as a runner. And if you feel, oh, they're going way back now. So if you steal second base, you get out of that double play situation.
0-2 to Callaway, and Wilson holds on to it.
I know teams right now are concerned with the ball being pulled down the line. Got a hard throwing right-hander on the mound. If he's got his best stuff, his mid to high 90s fastball, tough to pull him. I don't care if you're left-handed or right-handed. Cordero, of course, doesn't have very much speed, so you don't think about giving him the opportunity to steal second.
Slowly hit. Alomar quickly to first for the second out. And Benitez 1 out away from atoning for some earlier season problems that he had against the Expos. This is Jeff Leefer. That was a 3-run home run, enabling the Expos to come from behind to beat the Mets. And then in Puerto Rico, Orlando Cabrera tied the game, sending it into extra innings.
Armando Benitez had blown about 4 or 5 save situations in a row early in the year. And right now he's got to get Brian Schneider, Expos catcher, out in this situation. Schneider has 6 home runs, 21 RBIs.
Schneider batting for Michael Barrett, so Benitez, sure mindful of those early season problems, has been much more effective since those early season meetings with the Expos, and he's trying to end the game right here. Schneider batting for Michael Barrett with 2 men out. Outside for a ball. Brian Schneider does most of the catching these days. Cordero's at second. His run means nothing with 2 outs. And it's 1-1 on Schneider. Schneider 1 for 5 in his career against Armando Benitez. That 1 hit left the yard. Now it's 1-2. And if it comes down to it, you saw the on-deck circle for the Expos. That's Joe Vitiello.
And you don't want right now to get caught up with the crowd if you're a power pitcher, because then you try to overthrow the ball. You want to remain as relaxed as possible. Let those muscles in that right arm do the job. Relax them.
2-2.
95 miles an hour, so he's got a relaxed arm right now. Here at Shea Stadium, the gun has him at 97 miles per hour.
Mets are just trying to end the 5-game losing streak here. Benitez ready. The 2-2 to Brian Schneider. Reyes to Phillips. Put it in the books. Armando Benitez redeems himself for the early season problems against the Expos by picking up a 4-out save tonight here at Shea. And the Mets end their 5-game losing streak. Benitez gets his 19th save, and the Mets with a 3-1 win.
So Armando Benitez came in and he shut the door, and let's not forget Ty Wigginton, a big blow in tonight's game with 2 RBIs. Cliff Floyd had a couple of hits in tonight's ball game. And how about Steve Trachsel once again? He got the help from David Weathers and Armando Benitez, but Trachsel, very impressive again tonight here at Shea.
Trachsel picks up his 7th win, and the Mets take the opener of this 3-game series. 3-1 over the Montreal EXPOS. We'll come back to Shea to begin our post-game coverage in a moment.